Hello, welcome back to a new video of City Report. I'm Victoria Narduzzi, I'm 21 years old and I'm studying journalism. Today I will talk about my beautiful city, Maracaibo. Before I start, I will go over what you will learn in this video. 1. Location of the city. 2. History. 3. Interesting aspects. 4. Downtown and tourist places. 5. Festivities. 6. Typical food. 7. Climate. 8. Culture. 1. Location of the city. To begin, I want to show you where Maracaibo is located in the extreme west of Venezuela, Zulia state. 2. History. Maracaibo is the capital of the state of Zulia and has 1,653 million inhabitants. My beautiful city was founded in 1529 by the German Ambrosio Halfinger, who gave it the name of Maracaibo. The name comes from the cacique Mara, a 25-year-old strong man who opposed resistance against the Germans, who attacked the area. The Indians, seeing their boss die in his battle against the Germans, they shoot Mara cayó, and that is how the name of the capital of Zulia was originated. Although other researchers affirm that the place where Maravina city rise was then called in Indian language Maracaibo, which translates into Spanish as el lugar donde abundan las serpientes, or in English as the place where snakes abound. Maracaibo is the most important economic center in western Venezuela due to the oil industry that develops on the shores of the Lake of Maracaibo. Maracaibo was culturally separated from the rest of the country for geographical and historical reasons. Lake Maracaibo, unlike many of its neighboring states and Caracas itself, the capital of Venezuela, keep in many ways linked to the past cultures. Therefore, the people of Maracaibo receive Andalusian influence from the conquerors and applied the use vos instead of tú, which means you in Spanish language. 3. Interesting aspects. An interesting aspect of the city is the humor of its people, Maracuchos. They are very funny, they always happy, and they look for the good side of the bad times, all the time. Another interesting aspect of the city is the music, the Zulian Gaita, which is traditionally here before the start of the Christmas season, at the beginning of October, filling the streets with joy. And also how colorful its streets are. Churches and colonial houses. The striking colors of the facades of the houses are because when this sector was consolidated, the streets were made of dirt, and as the sidewalks are very narrow, the facades are almost literally on the street. Painting them white or light color was a complete nuisance because the earth ended up giving color to the walls. In addition to the purchasing power that the oil boom achieved, it gave the people the power to acquire this type of paintings, thus leaving an incredible architectural finish. For example, the Church of Santa Barbara, the houses around the center and the Saladillo. Four. Downtown and tourist places. Also, the land of the beloved sun has several wonderful tourist sites, such as the Basilica of Our Lady of Chiquinquirá. Is the most popular Catholic temple in the state of the Zulia. Located in the center of the city of Maracaibo. This structure is dedicated to the Virgin of Chiquinquirá, patron saint of Zulia. It was built in 1712 as a normal church and it was evolving until 1941, where it became a basilica, and on November 18, in 1942, the Virgin was crowned with a 10 kilograms crown made of 18 carats of gold. The Capitulation House, on August 26, 1965, by decree of the Conservative and Protective Board of the Historical and Artistic Heritage, the Capitulation House is declared a National Historical Monument. Say that this old building, located in front of the Plaza Bolívar de Maracaibo, was built in 1750 by Inés Mancebo de Zuloaga, to be inhabited as a residence, but in 1795 it became an official residence of the colonial ruler. Francisco Tomás Morales stayed there, and the capitulation was signed at the end of the War of Independence in our country. The Barral Theater is a theater in downtown Maracaibo, Venezuela, at the northwestern corner of historic Plaza Bolívar. The first theater on the site was built in the mid of 19th century as a small performance hall. With a subsequent theater buildings, there having seen many different reconstructions, a major Venezuela cultural institution. The theater received a National Monument designation in 1981, recognizing its location as the site of the first film screening in the country, and as a long-standing part of the historic center of Maracaibo. Bermúdez Art Center is the name given to a space that served for theatrical presentations. As a culture center, exhibition center, museum in the city of Maracaibo. Their concerts are also held. Workshops are held and guided tours are offered. It gets its name from the Venezuela artist and sculptor Lía Bermúdez. It was created as a foundation in 1990s, but was originally the main Maracaibo market, dating from 1930. It was updated and reconditioned under the project of the architect José Espósito, officially inaugurated in 1993. Its maintenance and management is the responsibility of the regional government of Zulia State, under the figure of foundation. The St. Peter and St. Paul Cathedral, or just Maracaibo Cathedral, is the main church of Maracaibo in the Zulia State of Venezuela. It was built in the 17th century. Pope Leo designated it as a cathedral on 25 July 1897. And together with the Archbishop's Palace, is the seat of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese in Maracaibo. The Square of the Rosary of Our Lady of Chiquinquirá. It was built in 2004 in front of the Basilica. La Vereda del Lago, that in addition to giving us a beautiful view of the Lake of Maracaibo, allow us to observe the General Rafael Urdaneta Bridge. Is locally called Puente sobre el Lago. This is a bridge that across the narrowest part of the lake and connects the city with the rest of the country. Was named from the General Rafael Urdaneta, the Zuliano hero of Venezuela, the second largest bridge in Latin America, and ranks number 65 among the longest in the world. It was inaugurated on August 24, 1962 by President Rómulo Betancourt. The Maracaibo Botanical Garden. It is unique in its style. Its importance is based on its high botanical and artistic value. As a result of the union of two master creators of this garden school. One, the Brazilian plastic artist and the landscape artist Roberto Burle Marx, and the other Aristigueta, a renewed Venezuelan science. This gives it as a special character as expressed by the architect Carla Urbi by relating aspects such as nature and man, art and science. 5. Festivities. Maracaibo, besides being a city that attracts the tourist attention for its beautiful culture, it also has festivities full of joy, as the Chiquinquirá Fair. That is one of my favorites, since in addition to paying tribute to our Virgin, we listen to gaitas as we celebrate her appearance. Another festivity is the Pozón of Saladillo, that is celebrated on December 24 and December 31 in the Saladillo neighborhood, where Maracuchos celebrate the new year like never before with their friends and family. 6. Typical food. Talking a little about our typical food, I must say that we have a traditional gastronomy that is included in Venezuelan food in general. There are a great variety of plates, like the patacón, the tequeños, pastries, tumbarranchos, empanadas, pabellón are so delicious. Also, I must add our street food from Cecilia Costa, where they sell some huge hamburgers, and we can put aside the dulce de lechosa y la galleta de huevo. 7. Climate. Regarding the climate, it's semi-arid warm. It's super hot in here. 8. Culture. In the culture of Maracaibo, there are several types of Guajiras ethnic groups. The well-known Guajiros, or Guayú, as they call, are settled in the Guajira Peninsula of the Zulia state. They speak the Guayú or Guayunaqui language. They dedicate themselves more than everything to the planting of coffee, yuca, banana, and many of them to craft, to making the well-known Guajiras blankets, hamacas, hats, like this one that I'm wearing, shoes like these ones. Let me show you. They are so beautiful. And tapestry. Maracaibo is characterized by having its craft very rich in artistical expressions. The most popular craft is the Guajira, which has been transmitted from generation to generation. You can find all of this craft, hats, shoes, Guajiras, Guajira blanket, hamacas, and other things in the Guajiro market, which is located on Milagro Avenue in Maracaibo. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do not forget to give me a like and subscribe. This was Victoria Leonarduzzi, and this was my city report. Welcome back to a new video of City Report. I'm Victoria Leonarduzzi, and I'm here today to talk about my beautiful country, Venezuela, and to talk about his beautiful capital, Caracas. Previously, I spoke about my city, Maracaibo. I hope you enjoyed it. To begin, I want to show you where my country is located in the north of South America. Its limit is very close to the line of the terrestrial equator. Therefore, it is part of the intertropical zone. My country has approximately 28.87 million inhabitants, according to the 2018 census. The history of Venezuela reflects events in the areas of the Americas colonized by Spain starting at 1522, led by native caciques such as Guacaipuro and Tamaco. However, in the Andean region of western Venezuela, complex Indian civilization of the Timotocuica people flourished before the European contact. It became one of the first Spanish-American colonies to declare independence, which was not securely established until 1821, when Venezuela was a department of the Federal Republic of Gran Colombia. It gained full independence as a separate country in 1830. During the 19th century, Venezuela suffered political autocracy, remaining dominated by regional caudillos, military strongmen. Until the mid of 20th century, since 1958, the country has a series of democratic governments. Economic shocks in the 1980s led to several political crises, including the deadly Caracas riots of 1989 and the impeachment of the President Carlos Andrés Pérez. A collapse in confidence in the existing parties saw the 1998 election of former COP involved career officer Hugo Rafael Chávez Frías, and the launch of the Bolivarian Revolution, beginning with a 1999 Constituent Assembly to write a new constitution of Venezuela. This new constitution officially changed the name of Venezuela to República Bolivariana de Venezuela, in English, Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. The national flag of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, or the colors of the rainbow, a favorite expression of its creator, is inspired by the design made by the Captain Lino, the Clemente y Palacios, and the General Francisco de Miranda Rodriguez for the American Confederation of Venezuela. It is made up of the colors yellow, blue, and red, in equal horizontal stripes, and in the middle of the blue, 8-point white stars, placed in an arc. Venezuela has several beautiful cities, so I will name the most important. Caracas. How could it be otherwise? Let's start talking about Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, and the most populated city in the country. Unfortunately for its inhabitants, it has been chosen as the most violent city in the world, in a report prepared by the organization Seguridad, Justicia y Paz, in English, Security, Justice and Peace. Its main attractions are the climate, its large number of shopping centers, and the many options for entertainment and cultural events. Maracaibo. The second most populated city in Venezuela is Maracaibo, the city when I was born and I raised, which is the capital of the Zulia state. Is the most important economic center in the west of the country, especially due to the oil industry. Develops of the banks of the lakes with the same name, Lake of Maracaibo. The city is considered the most cleanest in the country. The color of its churches and colonial houses is amazing. Valencia. Valencia is the third most populated city in Venezuela. We are talking about the capital of Carabobo state. It's also important that you keep in mind that Valencia is home to interesting museums and numerous parks. Barquisimeto. In Lara state, we find the fourth most populated city in Venezuela. It is about Barquisimeto, which is considered one of the oldest cities in the country. It is important to keep in mind that Barquisimeto is an important artistic and cultural nucleus. In fact, it's the birthplace of the great artists and musicians. Venezuela not only has beautiful cities, but also has some wonderful places to visit and enjoy nature, such as Mount Roraima, located on the border with Guyana and Brazil. It corresponds to one of the most famous natural jewels of Venezuela. The park was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, whose vast extension places it among the largest national parks in the world. The spectacular scenery of the park, both its imposing rock formation, stand out, with vertical walls and almost flat peaks, known as tepuis, as well as the enormous waterfall, which are El Cuquenan and Angel Falls, the latter the highest waterfall in the world. Morocco National Park, another national park that could not be out of any ranking of the best tourist places in Venezuela, located in the southern part of the Caribbean Sea, in the terrestrial zone of the park. The areas of exuberant mangroves and beautiful inlets are characterized of white sand beaches and turquoise water, while its marine area has the attraction of privileged underwater scenarios, where you can practice snorkeling in an ecosystem of extraordinary biodiversity. Mochima National Park, a park with beautiful natural settings, including coral reef and mangroves. The greatest fame of the place comes from its Caribbean beaches, both those that extend in the continental area and those hidden among the many islands of the park. Among all of them, you cannot fail to mention Playa Colorada, a beautiful beach with crystal waters and golden sands surrounded by coconut trees and mangrove. Los Roques, another of the wonderful places in Venezuela to visit in the Caribbean region, made up of some 50 islands and hundreds of small keys, where probably some of the most wonderful beaches in the country are hidden, characterized by their white sands and warm waters. La Colonia Tovar, a small city full of charms located just 42 kilometers from Caracas, a town founded at the end of the 19th century by German immigrants. The Colonia Tovar traditions and festivities are still appreciated. Eating German food in its restaurants, visiting ceramic craft workshops, and drinking typical beers. Now I will focus on the capital of my beautiful country, Caracas. Caracas is located in the north-central coastal area of the country. Although close to the coast, the city is located almost 900 meters above the sea level, separated from the central coastline by the Cordillera de la Costa, which as it passes through the urban nucleus is constituted as the Guaray Repano, or Avila National Park. Talking about the population of Caracas, in the last census carried out in 2015, Caracas has 2.82 million inhabitants. History. Caracas, officially Santiago de León de Caracas. It is the federal capital of Venezuela, as well as its administrative, financial, commercial, and cultural center, as the seat of the public powers of the nation. The Spanish discovered the Venezuelan coast in the 15th century, during the 1498, and began their colonization in this region, making the first attempt in what is now known as the city of Caracas before the arrival of the Spanish. The territory where the city is today was inhabited by indigenous Caribs. These, like other aborigines of Venezuela, were defenders of their freedom, their traditions, and their families' customs. The name of Caracas comes from the tribe that inhabited one of the coastal valleys, the Valley of Los Caracas, a place name still in force, which because they are Indians known and treated by the Spanish settled on the Pearl Island of Cubagua in their slave expedition of those coasts. The architecture of Caracas is interesting, complicated, and attractive. This is Caracas, a city that awakens inspiration when walking through its streets and avenues. It is also a jewel in architecture. Now I will name 6 wonders architecture of the city. University City. It's the main campus of the Central University of Venezuela. It was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO for the year 2000 and is located in the San Pedro Parish of the Libertador. It is one of the most important works of contemporary architecture and urban planning, created by the Venezuelan architect Carlos Raúl Villanueva. Venezuela Square. This icon of the capital city is located in the Recreo Parish. It was inaugurated in 1940. It is a combination of a pedestrian walkway and a road distributor that houses one of the city icons. Illuminated fountain to walk through. It is to marvel at its beautiful fountain, a representative symbol of Caracas. This square not only connects 4 points of the city, it is also a space for recreation and enjoyment for everyone who visits it. Grand Melia Caracas Suites and Comfort Center. This majestic hotel opened its doors to the public in 1998, designed by the architect Michel Benco, located in the Bellomonte de Caracas urbanization, which has access through Casanova and Venezuela avenues. Chaco Cultural Center. The Chaco Cultural Center is located on Tamaco de El Rosal Avenue as one of the most outstanding exponents of art and creativity. Work of the Venezuelan architect Juan Machado was commissioned to project the theater in 1996, a building designed by the architect Álvaro Rodríguez. In 2003, Juan Machado and Eric Breuer carried out the adaptation of the infrastructure, and the following year, it was inaugurated. It is a mandatory stop for all those who love art and want to know more about it. Teresa Carreno. The construction of the Teresa Carreno Theater Cultural Complex began at the end of 1972. It's located between Central Park and Los Cabos Park. For its design, a competition was held, in which the architects Tomás Lugo, Jesús Sandoval, and Dietrich Kundel were the winners. The entire complex is a source of sensations for those who visit it. It is impossible to walk through it without being impressed. Caracas Cathedral. This church, built in 1665, has gone through various reconstruction processes. It is made of neoclassical elements and has 3 bodies that overlook 4 streets. It has a basilica plan, separated from the side by octagonal section columns. In our country, the religious architecture is very important. This is one of the cases in which constructions goes beyond beliefs and becomes a symbol that represents its citizens. National Pantheon. The history of this monument is quite rich. It began as the Santísima Trinidad Church, but after the earthquake of 1812, it was left in ruin. Being in the process of restoration, it was decreed as a national pantheon in 1850. It has a neo-Gothic style, and its roof is covered by 70 artist works by the painter Tito Salas. The Botanical Garden. The Botanical Garden is part of the University City of Caracas, housing 70 hectares, where more than 2,000 plant species coexist. This space is one of the best tourist places in Caracas for those looking for an educational space in contact with nature. Las Mercedes. Las Mercedes corresponds to one of the most tourist areas of Caracas. The most cool hotels, exclusive restaurants, designer stores, shopping centers, and art galleries are concentrated. It is also an area famous for its nightlife, with plenty of bars and clubs. The heart of Las Mercedes is Plaza Alfredo Sadel, where different events and cultural activities take place in the open air. Another of its iconic sites is the Paseo Las Mercedes Shopping Center, with several shops, restaurants, hotels, cinema, and theaters. The time has come to talk about our typical food. Caracas offers several typical meals, among which are, for example, el asado negro criollo, la arepa, el pabellón criollo, that it is a national dish, and la ensalada de gallina. Our typical drinks are la chicha, tisana, carato. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to see you soon in Venezuela. Do not forget to give me a like and subscribe. This was Victoria Narduzzi, and this is my city report.